Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our Ram 1500 Tungsten review. This of course is a luxury truck through and through, and the day's finally come where we can show you what it's like behind the wheel. There's certainly a lot to talk about when it comes to this area, so we're excited to show you. As always, in this test drive we'll be covering a significant amount of materials, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting that sound level reading, so if we can see if this is the most luxurious and quietest truck on the market. But let's go ahead and get started with a hard acceleration.
And that's 60.
You hear the tire squeal?
Of course. It's because we have high output on this bad boy.
Yes,
As you'd expect, the Tungsten is going to come with the most powerful engine option inside of this family. So we kind of discussed this in part 1 of this review, but within the new Ram 1500 lineup, you're going to have 3 engines now. 2 of them are the Hurricane family, but we have the high output version. This version from the 3-liter twin turbo inline 6-cylinder is making 540 horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque. Those are obviously excellent numbers.
Yeah, if you look at it compared to other truck rivals that are in this luxury segment, like a Sierra Denali Ultimate, you were looking at significant power advantages over something like that. That comes in at 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, and we've been behind the wheel of that many times, and sitting here in this Hurricane fully loaded model with the high output, wow, it is a pretty significant difference when you talk about the amount of power that you're getting here. Yeah,
Mason hit the nail on the head there. This space thus far really hasn't had like a high output engine option. Like typically, if you wanted this type of power, you were gonna have to get one of the kind of sport trucks, you know, something kind of like a Raptor. But now we can combine this type of power above 500 horsepower with the luxurious experience that the Tungsten delivers.
Now, one thing I do want to talk about here is how you get the high output version of this engine. That is going to be standard on the limited Longhorn and this Tungsten trim level. So you do have a few different trim levels that you can get this. I'm happy that it's not exclusively on the Tungsten, so I'm happy that even if you choose just a limited model, you will still get this high output motor. Additionally, I do want to talk about the other version. So the standard output version is a 3-liter twin turbo inline 6 as well. 420 horsepower, 469 pound-feet of torque for that version. So certainly that's not a weak choice by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not going to be as powerful as this version. So if you're a very power-hungry person, I would suggest maybe choosing higher trim levels, but
obviously if you're in 2-wheel drive, which we were just then, there's a lot of power and a lot of torque, but it's manageable, you know. I just put my foot all the way down, of course.
It's fun.
We're testing it out. It's fun. It's fun.
Now, I do also want to point out you do have a traditional 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 option. That's going to be pretty much the same as last year. It does have the mild hybrid system on board with that. 315 horsepower, 269 pound-feet of torque. That's standard on Tradesman, Bighorn, and Lone Star trim level. So do keep that in mind. It's a 10 horsepower advantage over what it was in 2024. So a little bit of an improvement, but certainly if you want the maximum powertrain improvement, you'll want to get the Hurricane motors in the higher end trim levels.
All right, so as I accelerate again, let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. That, of course, is the transmission. So we do have an 8-speed automatic transmission on board. This is going to be used across the lineup, no matter which of the 3 configurations you choose with the engine. Nice and smooth transmission. It's pretty much the same thing that they were offering before. We never had any objection to this at all. You know, 8 is plenty of gears. nice and smooth. When you put your foot down, even in the standard drive mode, which is what I've been driving in so far today, you don't have to wait but maybe just 1 second to get a kick down and get that power.
Yeah, I do also want to just mention that you have standard 2-wheel drive and optional 4-wheel drive. Do keep in mind, though, if you choose the high output Hurricane motor, you will have standard 4-wheel drive. They're not offering that in a 2-wheel drive configuration. But guys, I do not want to delay the conversation any longer about ride quality when it comes to this Ram Tungsten. Oh my goodness. The Ram 1500, we've been saying for many years, has had the best truck suspension setup, and here with this Tungsten model, as you would expect, it is going to continue that trend of just having exceptionally good ride quality. Now, why is that so? Well, Ram is offering an air suspension, so the Tungsten obviously has the air suspension, and it just really smooths out your ride. Any bump that you hit, it just does a phenomenal job of soaking it up, and really it feels not like driving a truck. You don't even really get those like small rattles and, you know, undulations in the suspension because the air suspension is able to smooth that out. So that's a huge difference when you compare it to other luxury trucks like the Sierra. They do not have that air suspension as an option. So that's just something to really consider here.
Yeah, for sure. This definitely is the closest to just like a luxury SUV experience. We actually got to ride in a Grand Wagoneer before this event, from the airport to the event, and I think it really nails the fact that how similar they are.
Yeah.
Like, it really just makes that register in my head, the fact that, you know, you have that feeling like a Grand Wagoneer inside of a pickup truck, and that's really just something that none of the rivals, they haven't gone to that yet. So if you want that type of experience, this is the only name in the game.
Yeah, and I'm also going to just point out, I'm getting a massage right now. So the Tungsten obviously elevates your seating experience to even offer massaging, which previously was not available. You can also get that on the limited trim levels as well. So definitely a very nice premium experience when it comes to your ride quality. You're going to be very impressed. All right, and let's go ahead and dive into our slam dunk and airball, which is our favorite element, our least favorite element about this new Ram Tungsten. Drew, do you want to kick us off with the slam dunk?
Yeah, so the slam dunk, you probably already guessed this, but the luxury. And that's just really an all-inclusive thing. It's not just the luxury of the interior, or the luxury of having all that power, or the luxury of the air suspension. It's just like an all-inclusive thing. Like, this just really coddles you. It feels, again, like you're piloting a luxury SUV, but you're in a pickup truck. And, you know, none of the competition really can quite say that, I think.
Yeah. And I do love this new motor. As far as our airball is concerned, it's very hard to find an airball when you're talking about such a nice truck as this, but what we would say is that maybe we wish there was a little bit more design enhancements on the outside for 2025. This is obviously getting a lot of new elements for the refresh, but the overall design is not vastly different. So maybe just a few little elements here and there would have been nice to make sure that people coming from a current Ram, which came out in 2019 model year, see that big upgrade when it comes to overall look.
Sport mode acceleration. Wow.
I love it.
Gotta love it. I do want to talk just a little bit more about, you know, the character of this inline six. So obviously that is a unique element because we've moved from a Hemi V-8, kind of that old school traditional Hemi V-8 experience. But, you know, this does have, of course, a lot of advantages. Sound, you know, that is what you make of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to sound like the previous Hemi. This is a very quiet engine. Even when you're going full throttle, I just noticed that you don't hear it very much at all. It is so smooth. It's so refined in its power delivery. So you have basically almost no noise, vibration, or harshness.
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel it inside the cabin. You barely hear it. But it does have a bit of a pop, almost like when you're going full throttle. You can slightly hear from the exhaust.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You know, but overall, it is just so smooth and refined. So one of the great benefits, of course, of having an inline 6-cylinder is just how naturally balanced it is, and that is something I think you'll really notice compared to the previous V8, which was, you know, more visceral, but say less luxurious.
Yeah. And I do want to just go ahead and mention fuel economy. Now, unfortunately, this has not been EPA tested just yet, so we don't have the official figures for this Ram 1500 in its 2025 model year. However, I will just point out the 2024 figure was 19 combined with the 5.7 liter Hemi. If I was a betting man, I would say that you probably get better fuel economy out of this inline 6 than the previous Hemi motor. So I would say greater than 19 miles a gallon combined, which is pretty good fuel economy. Honestly, that's better than a lot of other trucks. So that's a pretty good figure, that is for sure. If you go for the base 3.6 liter Pentastar motor, we would expect that to remain pretty much the same this year, and that would be rated at 21 miles a gallon combined. Now, I also want to just go ahead and discuss pricing, because we haven't been able to share that with you guys up until this point because that was under embargo. We do have pricing for most of the trim levels. The Tradesman's going to start at $42,270. The Bighorn we don't have the exact pricing for just yet. The Laramie is going to start at $62,025. Rebel $66,190, which is worth noting that's an $8,000 increase for 2025. The Longhorn Limited $77,645. The Limited is $77,150. Compared to the previous 2024 model, that is a $12,000 increase. But do keep in mind, you're getting a lot more standard features with the limited model now, as compared to previously, where you had to option in a lot of features. And then the one you've been waiting on, the Tungsten, this fully loaded model is going to start at $89,150. As far as this tester today, we're sitting at a touch over $90,000. We have a little window sticker here. $90,585 is the price on today's example. All right, guys, and probably the moment you've been waiting on, the sound level reading of this ultra luxury Ram 1500. Let's see if it's the quietest luxury truck out there. I went ahead and toggled it to fan speed 1, and we'll get it going 55 miles per hour. Looks like we've settled in at 59 decibels even for our sound level reading. Now, do keep in mind, we are outside of Austin, Texas. That's where the media drive is for this Ram 1500. So unfortunately, we can't control where we're at for the media drive. We do look forward to hopefully getting one of these fully loaded Ram 1500s back in Kentucky for a official sound level reading. But for the time being, 59 decibels is our reading, which I think is very impressive considering how rough this road is, because this is a much rougher road than what we would typically test in Kentucky. So 59 decibels is pretty darn good. And if you're interested in knowing about all of the sound level readings that we have done on this channel, you can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, where we've tested out tons of other luxury trucks that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So go ahead and check out the website. We have all the sound level readings there. And as far as last things to mention, I do just want to point out there is not going to be like a Ram 1500 hybrid model. Of course, they do have that upcoming Ram Charger, which is a plug-in hybrid variant. We look forward to testing that out hopefully later this year. And then there's the full electric Ram Revolution that I think will also be coming out later this year. So stay tuned to the channel if you want to know more about that. But I think that's where we're going to leave off on part 2 of our Ram 1500 Tungsten review. If you enjoyed watching this video, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help get us invited to events like this where you can come out and sample some of the latest trucks on the market. So we certainly would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. And we do want to remind you, if you're looking to purchase a Ram 1500 or any new vehicle, to go to carconfections.com/new car quotes. Now, why you do that is because on our website, we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. A link to that is provided in our video description. We do also want to remind you, if you want to know all the details about this Ram 1500, besides for the driving portions, we do already have a video on the channel now that goes over the exterior, all the features with this truck, so you can go ahead and check that video out now. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.